Honor my teacher, my supervisor, my advisor, my brother in Christ, Professor Nkereuwem Udoakah. I had the privilege of knowing Professor Nkereuwem Udoakah while I was an undergraduate student here up to my PhD. He supervised my first two projects, my undergraduate work and my master's. Professor Nkereuwem Udoakah, I don't know what to say about him, but he's a man that if you understand him, you'll be proud to relate with him. Professor Udoakah, I celebrate you today. I thank God for you, and I wish you long life, and wherever you are, may you have the blessings of God. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. That was a brief one. I call on Professor Godwin Basi Okon, Dean of Social Sciences, Rivers State University. Incidentally, the son of the son too.
I acknowledge the chairman and members of the head table. I bring you greetings from the Rivers State University. For me, it's an honor to be a part of this convocation because we're here to celebrate integrity. We're here to celebrate excellence. We're here to celebrate competence. This is a man that will go the extra mile for his students. He would always encourage his students to think outside the box. And that is why some of us Marvel. Thank you for making me a part of this assembly. God bless you.
And Professor Nicholas Udoakah.
Good afternoon, the chairman team. I am delighted to be here to celebrate my mentor and my PhD supervisor. Incidentally, I didn't like him as a person in my 100 level. I didn't like him. I don't know, but I didn't like him. But when he started teaching me in 200 level, he had stuff. And so I held on to him. And we became the best of friends, even before I graduated. Now, in Federal University of Technology, Minna, I was opportune to be the head of my department. And I thought I needed him to help me to strengthen art. And so I persuaded the vice. I was on his neck until he gave him. When he came, he actually contributed to the development of the department. He did a lot. As a matter of fact, two courses that we had introduced, we had just reviewed the curriculum. He developed the content for those courses. And those courses were new media theory and application. That was the second one. He developed pledge to donate some books to the Department of Communication Arts.
Thank you very much. There are very many here, and for those are the three that we'll take. Let me acknowledge the fact that the people of Nkereuwem community in Etinan, where Professor Udoakah hails from, they are all here, and they have sent their goodwill message to Professor Udoakah through me, and I have delivered. Thank you very much, Nkereuwem community. I am told that the tea is getting cold, even the food. So we have to be on the fast lane. Before we close that chapter of goodwill messages, we want to hear briefly from our dean, the dean of the Faculty of Arts, Professor Joe Shea.
Thank you very much, the MC. Let me start by saying that I will disappoint you because I will not be very brief. But you've done a good job, thank you. I will not be very brief because my association with Professor Nkereuwem Udoakah has not been very brief. Yes, Chairman, distinguished colleagues from both the University of Udoakah and outside. As you can see me, I look extremely strong enough to wrestle down the strongest of the wrestlers. Because for 1 month or so, I had been under the weather. But I'm happy that I've come out relatively strong enough to be here today, being the 3rd day I have returned to work. Don't mind me, I'll be brief. Yes, I was to be here early, but then there's this very important university committee dealing with review of conditions of service. You know how sensitive it can be. And I had some staff colleagues' interest to protect. So it came up today, and I managed back to the fold after over a month of absence. So that was why, conscious of this event, I requested the Vice Dean to stand in while I go and free myself from the other angle. And the freedom just came, and I rushed down here. That's why I'm very late. I have very many things to say about Professor Nkereuwem Udoakah, but I will say just one or two. One is that we have been very close friends and colleagues. During our Holocaust days, the Uyo4 trouble, he planted one expression in me, and that is, he calls it the sugar cane phenomenon. And he kept telling me, you see, when the wind blows, the sugar cane goes down, but after a while, it still rises. And so the way I was down, having been suspended for ASU-related activities, that I should not mind, in time, the wind would allow the sugarcane to rise. And in time, the sugarcane rose. And that is why today, to the glory of God, I am back as dean. Second, unfortunately, we lost him, Department of Communication Arts. I met him in Ibadan. I had not met him in Uyo. And in Ibadan, he was doing exploits. He was just everywhere. And when I saw the name, it was a name from this axis. I called him and said, and Ibadan, you know, those of you who know Ibadan, you know, Ibadan will go for the best, whether you are from the moon or sun. And Ibadan was already eyeing him and attracting him. So when I noticed the trend, Cross River, he said, sir, I know you. Are you not, I was then Mr. Osho of English department. I said, I was. You taught us. I said, are you saying you are a product of the Department of Communication as you? He said, yes. And I said, okay. I do any prospect of employment? He said, no. I came down from Ibadan. I was rounding off the PhD. I went to Dr. Nkereuwem Udoakah. I said, look, this is what I have seen in Ibadan. If you don't hurry up and bring that young man down, Ibadan will soon get him. And he asked me, please, when next you see, when you go, tell him that the very next time he comes to you, let him see me. And the very next time the late Dr. Etai Kanem came to you, he saw him, and that was how he got employed. I said this because you see the mind of somebody who wants the best for his department, the best for the system. And he didn't bring in any other sentiment. He didn't raise issues as to whether I had
any relationship. He just said, if he is that good, please let him see me the very next time he's in Uyo. So on this occasion of his being celebrated, I thank God first for keeping him for us. I thank God because if we look at us, though he looks as young as I do, but he is possibly older than I am. And all that, when I was about dying the other day, I felt I was old enough to go. But when you see him, he can still play football as under 16. So we thank God for keeping him for us. Second is that I thank especially the Department of Communication Arts under the leadership of my younger one. I call him a son, the ebullient Professor Peter Esu, and my colleagues in the department, in that department. There's something about ComArts. ComArts operates the ship policy. If the head policy, they feel we are convinced about this, they move. It's one of the most united departments in the country. How they go about it, I don't know. But they are so cohesive. When my brother Ashon was chairman of ASU, they did something that I won't forget. Almost every other person collapsed during an internal strike. Communication asset is one of us. We will either sing or rise with him as an entity, and that was what they did. And there have been several situations. I won't need to bother you with them, but I am so proud of that department. I'm so happy with them. And I ask that other departments should emulate the examples. Then I'm aware also of the impending transition. It's not a divorce. It is a winning of one of your children who has come of age to live on his own. That is the transformation of the department into a faculty. I am actively in support. In fact, I had spoken with the HOD. If in the last meeting I had not been so down, the university, I'm afraid, may have taken the process a little wrongly. This thing came as a directive from the NUC. We did not need to begin to subject it to our traditional process of it going through all the hurdles. All that we needed to do as a university was tell them, go, this is the directive. Go and work out the programs the way you want them. Let us look at them and then make input and you go. But it's not too late, by God's grace. So I am so happy to be here. I'm happy that the same department, including our own Professor Desmond Wilson, who you would think, and then Professor Bungu, who have left the system, and yet they are here. You won't even notice that they are actually just visiting. So cohesive, so tied together, and in feel the happiness, where he can hear the testimonies, where he can see us and thank God that his sojourn on this world has been most fruitful. I thank you all for coming. Thank you for your patience, even with me. May God keep us alive in Jesus' holy name.
We will encourage our dean from two perspectives, or three. One is the Dean of Arts. Two is the substantive chairman on this occasion. And three is a goodwill speaker. For these three, please can we? Thank you very much, Dean. The only thing is that when he says he will be very brief, you will need to begin to look into the dictionary to see if there is any other meaning. Okay. But I thought he said, thank you very much, sir. We are going to listen to the person in whose honor we are gathered here this day. His citation has been read, we will repeat. He has heard everything that has been said about him, I will repeat. But if he feels like repeating those things that have been said about him, that is his business. My business is to call the celebrant, Professor Nkereuwem Udoakah.
Very much for your music. Please permit me to start some way, then I'll come back to what you think I should have started with. Let me welcome everybody to this occasion and thank you for the patience that you have exercised to stay up to this moment. This is going to be just a brief remark by me, and you'll get the other details. I titled this, Putting Political Communication and Development in Perspective. Since the theme has been political communication and national development. And by the grace of God, I am in both sides of this theme. I want to remind us, because I'm sure every one of us here has an idea of what a political communication is. But let me remind us that political communication is a channel through which the visions of a people's promised land and the pains and gains of getting and sacrifices of getting there are delivered to the audience. It carries the aspirations and desires of the ruling class about the welfare of the citizenry or humanity, be it nationally, globally, or locally. It takes its identity from politics. You know, you hear political communication. So it takes its identity from politics. That is the act of authoritative allocation of scarce resources to different sectors of the economy for development. It is difficult to separate any facet of development from political communication. They are like Siamese twins. The development may be infrastructural, educationally, scientifically, technologically, environmental, protection, etc. The allocation of scarce resources for any sector of development ought to be determined by need, humanitarian considerations, national interest, where there is one, and has been so defined and accepted by the ruling class. I'm sure here in this country you hear people talking about national interest. Up till now that I'm standing here, I don't really know what that national interest is. But most often, self-interest, regional, implicit ethnic or racial interest holds sway. Policy statements from governments, concerning the administration of their countries and their